Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the finals for tonight's tournament. We've got the $200 minimum 4v4 variant taking place here on March 15th. It's Vex going up against Midnight Gaming. Don't want to say that I predicted it, but I did. I knew it from the start that it was going to be Vex and Midnight meeting up against one another. We've been able to watch both of these teams face off in their respective matches. We've seen Midnight have a pretty easy round one, had a pretty easy quarterfinal matchup, taking down both of those teams in a hot 2-0. We get to kind of hop in with a Vex Gaming squad who's in their semifinal matchup versus some pretty solid players like Mochilla, Tiny, Reader, Drama. They take them down. Also in a pretty easy 2-0. Both teams yet to really experience the full level of competition in themselves, as now they have to kind of ramp things up to try to finish out this final series. It should be a fun one to watch. And if you guys aren't familiar with some of these players, kind of looking first at the guys from Vex, of course, they are going to be your red team for this first map, being Hitman, Rampy, Vicious, and Brack. Rampy, Vicious, and Brack have kind of been a solid team of three for the last few months. Rampy kind of known for his search and destroy play, at least in my eyes, for a lot of his series. I think in his last match on, I think it was Arn Force Search and Destroy versus Free Agent Live, he finished off 13-2, had streaks after round 2, and is definitely a guy to be looking out for. We also got a guy named Vicious. Vicious, a very solid slayer in his own regard. I've been watching him for a little bit now, and also can really do a lot with that submachine gun. Can really go off from time to time, and I think he does it quite a bit of the time whenever he's in these close quarter situations with that SMG. Does a lot for his squad. And we also got Brack, one of the better ARs of the kind of semi-pro top amateur, whatever you really want to kind of call that title. He's one of the better players at that position. Kind of very well known as far as his knowledge is considered. He kind of plays like a veteran as far as like his overall role is considered. You see him quick to be on the rotation. His team that really kind of provides him along with that is also good as well. And along with that, the last player I got to bring up is Hitman. Hitman previously was playing for a team known as Rain, kind of a solid roster with him, Gently, Neon, and Lisp Zeus had been a team since the start of World War II. And now looking on, right, we have him kind of joining alongside potentially this Vex team. Recently announced that he's a free agent, but one thing that I like about Hitman, not having the greatest of starts to this map, but very known for his consistent and very solid overall slang numbers. This guy, whenever he was playing on Rain, was consistently, in wins or losses, was putting up almost double positive stats at times. And it wasn't as if he was just kind of stat whoring or just kind of going for one thing after another. He was just playing overall consistent Call of Duty and not really letting any gunfights not go his way. It was just a matter of surrounding himself with the right players is the key to that. And I think this might be the roster. So when you look at a team like Vex, very solid when it comes down to the respawn. Search and destroys can be maybe at times a little bit iffy, but overall a very well-rounded team. When they had actually previously in place previously in place of Hitman, they actually have Lyric, as it looks like Hitman beginning to go on a streak. Welcome back to the respawn screen. Hitman destroying the enemy right now. 7 spree as a team. He's on a 4 streak himself and wants to find a few of those kill streaks, wants a fighter pilot or a glide bomb. But getting back to talk about this man Lyric, and he was kind of in place for, getting back to Hitman in place of Lyric, prior teammate, it seems like for now, as he finally will drop. The nice plays coming in from Pemby, but this team actually, the guys from Vex, when they had Lyric on the roster, went to a Game 5 Round 11 versus Optic in one of the first Pro League challenges. So, you know, like I said, you can kind of point out a number of different things about this team that can really catch you off guard, and they're overall a very solid team when it comes down to that slang category. They can absolutely rip you apart if you don't know exactly what you're doing around the map. They're going to make a lot of your mistakes very out in the open, are going to absolutely run with them. Other side, though, we got not Free Agent Life. We've got Midnight Gaming. You got ProFeeZy, Glory, Phantomz, and Pemby. This team has actually been together longer than the guys on Vex, even if you do include the non-addition of Hitman. These guys have been playing with each other for quite a bit of time. This kind of main core, being ProFeeZy and Glory, have been on the same team since the beginning of World War II, and of course added pieces along their way. I've got Phantomz, kind of a newer AR player, much like Brack. This is going to be one of the major matches to be looking out for as far as kind of younger AR talent. Phantomz versus Brack. Phantomz, like I said, newer player to the scene as far as, you know, kind of getting himself in the Call of Duty community. very talented player, and I've also been seeing him rock the SMG, as you see him doing right now, a little bit as well. And I'm not sure if he's just kind of stepping back, letting Pemby kind of hold on to that main assault rifle role, or what really the case is. But very talented player with that AR. He's a new player, actually got discovered by ProFeeZy after visiting kind of some local lands back in New Jersey. You got ProFeeZy, though. Kind of one of the probably most notable players. You talk about Panda, you talk about VexX, whatever you really want to talk about. This guy, very well known for his play back in Infinite Warfare and even on toward that. I've been watching this guy play since Advanced Warfare, and really is just a solid talent to be watching out for. Very quick player, one of the better players with the SMG, and can really get in your face from time to time. Next guy we got is Glory. Glory, very talented sniper player, also can rock a number of different weapons. He's kind of a solid flex player. PPSH, STG-44, he does it all, and can also snipe from range from time to time. Been watching him for quite a bit, and he's really kind of showcased himself so far throughout World War II in a very dominant way. And last but not least, we've got Pemgoat, a.k.a. Pemby. To me, a solid leader on this team. I've watched Pemby play in a number of different tournaments. Have casted over him since, maybe like the last 2, 3, 4 years now, and also kind of puts up that consistent number from time to time. There's been, titles where I've seen Pemby not really have his greatest moments, but really throughout World War II, I think he's kind of stepped into his own, really found his game, and really kind of played up to his potential of being a solid AR, kind of back of the map player. An anchor role is exactly what this guy plays, as you're going to see him finding kills off of that next respawn heading in here toward parking lot, doing exactly what his role suggests, right? And he's not going to do anything but that. Very solid player with that assault rifle and knows his role to a T. So when it kind of comes down to both these teams, that's kind of exactly how you kind of line things out. But it seems that for now, it is a pretty solid advantage toward the guys on Midnight Gaming. 192 to 77. Overall, a 100-second advantage for now, as Glory and Co. look to try to make their way back toward parking lot, but the spawns are going to be in control of Vex for the time. And thank God, to be honest with you, if you are in their situation, that thankfully we do have these spawns. This is the hill where you can start to chalk up quite a bit of seconds. And it seems that that's what they're doing for the time, just passing over that century margin. And we'll see how well they can do post that. You see Brack kind of at a standstill for the time, gives the call out to his teammate Rampy, as he's kind of aware of those pushes coming through mid-cut. And be keeping in mind the next rotation. These are going to be big based on the factor of whether or not Vex can kind of solidify themselves back into the match. Is it just one hill, or is this the kind of back-to-back hard points where they start to get seconds in their favor? As it looks like a split spawn coming through, at least as far as where the players' positions are from the boys on Midnight Gaming, as that push will work out for them. Despite dropping a few of those seconds, Glory is wanting to gain them all back to the 200-second lead, or excuse me, 200-second total, nearly a 200-second lead, as Glory is starting to destroy right now. 4-0, nearly makes it 5-0. Rampy is there to pick up one, but to no avail. Talk about a statement early on here from the boys on Midnight. Despite ProFeeZy not having the strongest of performances, 12 and 20, his teammates are picking up for it. Phantomz 28 and 19, minute and 17 inside of the hill. Second most hardpoint time for his team. This man is doing it all for this roster. This is what I talked about. I talked about it months ago. I was like, this guy is on my radar, one of the more talented players in this game. And a lot of the times you talk about assault rifle players, they're not going to be the guys in the hill a lot of the time. Of course, it depends on the map and whatnot, but generally, these are the guys who are getting a lot of that hill time. They aren't the guys who are going to getting their foot involved with the objective. That's what this guy does. He picks up kills with the AR and also hops inside of the hill. He's just behind ProFeeZy, who has been in this hill basically the entire game. And Phantomz has been right there with them, as Glory and Phantomz will fill the kill feed. A quick 4 down for good measure. A exclamation point here in the finals, as they take map 1 in a pretty dominant way, as we get to revisit this play coming in from, I believe this is actually Hitman, not Phantomz, despite what the scoreboard says. Or to me, like I said, saw play coming in there from Hitman as map number 1 ends. And yet again, another dominant way, 250 to 124. Chalk it up for the guys on MG. They've got to be feeling pretty confident after a win like that. As like I said, it was Phantomz and Glory who lead the way yet again. To no surprise, I think it's fair to say as well. No real surprise in that victory, what we witnessed, because those are the guys who have been kind of cleaning up kills throughout the entire evening. Phantomz has been going off in the hard points. Glory has been going off in the search and destroy along with the hard points as well. Right now, if you're the guys on Vex, your backs are against the wall. You have, obviously, a Search and Destroy uploaded next. Before, of course, we start to talk about that, we got to take a look at the hardpoint score breakdown. Of course, here at our scorecard in total. Looks like as far as how the hills were considered, we see a 91-12 advantage on Restaurant. That alone should scare you, right? I think that alone should really start to worry you a little bit. Winery, pretty much the same. We see Parking Lot actually dominated from the guys on Vex, but to no avail. That's not what really kind of wins you the games. Normally, if you see an advantage like that on Parking Lot, you can imagine it was probably a lot closer than this. But like I said, take a look, though, to me. The two hard points that really step out to me, Restaurant and Lookout Post. Not just because of the score differential, but the matter of that those two hardpoints are by no means the money hills of this map. When we talk about St. Marie du Mans, it's all about hill number 2 and hill number 3, Winery and Parking Lot. Those are the hardpoints where we can start to chalk up quite a bit of time. But for the guys on Midnight, throughout this entire tournament, and the 3 hardpoints that I've casted over them, let me actually go back to my notes really quick, so I want to make sure I get this right. When we watched Midnight play against Bound, they played on Arden Forest. Hardpoint that they dominated the most on was East Road and Cave. When they faced off against Market Esports on St. Marie du Mans, the same thing. They were having a solid performance in hill number 2, or in hill number 1 and hill number 4. The ones that aren't necessarily preferred, Bottom Restaurant and also, like I said, on Lookout Post. It's just a matter of these guys just know what to do when it comes down to the slang category. They know the rotations that are needed, and they also realize that, hey, while money hills are important, it's not make or break. Like I said, every hardpoint gives you 60 seconds, right? I mean, every hardpoint gives you the exact same amount of time. It's just a matter of how you control it and how you work it as a team. And maybe the guys on Midnight just have a strategy to where they're practicing offhand strats to where teams necessarily aren't expecting to see such an early kind of control being gathered toward off hills or toward hardpoints where we're not really used to seeing something like that happen. But regardless, though, you got to give massive preps to the guys on MG for making this happen time and time again. Now we're looking at Vex and saying, how do you guys respond? How do you play when it comes down to the next Search and Destroy, which, of course, like we said, is going to be on London Docks. Very fast-paced. Sniper plays can obviously be brought up from time to time. But as far as like players to be looking at, I think heading into this game, as far as SMGs are considered, from Midnight, I'm going to be looking at Glory and ProFeeZy. Whether or not Glory has a SMG out from time to time is going to depend on whether or not he's on defense or offense. Probably on offense, going to be playing SMG. On defense, maybe half the rounds going to be playing the sniper. From Vex, though, guys be looking out for, to me, going to be Vicious, going to be Hitman, maybe even Rampy from time to time. Probably Rampy and especially Hitman. This is, to me, where Hitman really shows his worth, because not just in Hardpoint, but also in Search and Destroy, this is where this guy can really get kills down. He's going to be finding first bloods very, very aggressive. We're going to be probably seeing, when it comes into water side over toward A, that 10 bomb site, that's when we're going to see probably early matchups happening between Hitman and ProFeeZy, because both these guys prefer the strategy of rushing in toward 10, trying to find the first blood, trying to establish control early on. And I think we're going to kind of have a little bit of a brute force battle. Who can find that first blood is really going to play big. And if you're Vex, you have to have a really solid game from all 4 players, but especially the guy who's going to be looking for those first bloods off the break every single time, which is Hitman. My eyes are on you, Hitman. This is your time to shine, pal. And with Vex being down the way that they are, especially after losing a dominant hardpoint like that, I mean, a solid win at Search and Destroy, no matter how you win it, it's a win. A CTF to be forced would be awesome to see, especially for our final series. But if you guys welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, for potentially the final time to the $200 minimum 4v4 variant, of course, taking place here on March 15th. It's close to March 16th, actually, if you're depending on what time zone you're in. But regardless, though, we're hopping in for some London Docks Search and Destroy for map number 2. Things are getting started early on as Rampy will find the first blood of the entire match for that reason. And to no avail, Vex heavily needing to win this map too for obvious reasons, to bring themselves back into the series and also to try to escape elimination. Why? Because it was Midnight Gaming who took map number 1 on St. Marie du Mans Hardpoint, 250 to just 124 seconds. And just like that, victory found in the first round here for Vex. And for those who are wondering, are curious potentially, best of 3s throughout the entire tournament, of course, in the current matchup as well for the finals. Meaning that Midnight Gaming will still be, no matter what, always on map point throughout the rest of this match, whether or not we do experience a map 3. Hoping for it, hoping for a CTF. We'll see, though. Looking on, though, with the offensive team, it will be ProFeeZy and co. from the boys on MG, trying to make their way in toward the bomb site, but it looks like it's not if Vicious has anything to say about it. Finding the first blood off the break, calling in the squad mates to try to make the push happen. Rampy getting ready to make his way forward. The bomb is planted. good to go, and ProFeeZy will escape with his life for the time being, spawning each other just toward the bottom side of the railing, but ProFeeZy is there to reign supreme. Vicious, a machine pistol in hand. Doing some damage, though. ProFeeZy feeling the pressure, tries to make his way forward. However, he is dropped. A 2 versus 2 situation as Glory is able to drop one just from the side. And now making the aggressive rush is Hitman. Here comes the kill, and it will be Glory who escapes with one. Speaking of ones, we find ourselves in a mono-a-mono spot, and Vicious will be there for the pickup. And this is the most important player on the map if you are Vex Gaming. Why? Because this man is on a 3 spree and also just earned a defuse toward that score streak column. Now not that far away off of that fighter pilot and or the glide bomb. As 2 rounds down and 2 rounds the way of Vex. If you're talking about a way to start off a comeback, this is the exact way to do it. On top, not letting the enemy have any opportunity to have their way. And so it looks like loading in toward round number 3. Vex back on the offense. Looks like we'll see what bomb site they resort to make their way toward. Last time it was B. We saw Rampy have a pretty strong performance as far as the last 2 kills were considered. And it looks like beginning to do some more of that. ProFeeZy dropped inside a closet. And all but an afterthought, as it looks like a smoke actually gets tossed in toward cut. That's trying to limit the vision that Glory was trying to have. Pretty common spot, but not for a sniper. Interesting to see that he has so much confidence that no one's actually sitting inside of barrels. Well, that confidence is quickly beginning to diminish. Thankfully, Phantomz is there for the trade, but he also gets dropped as well. But Pemby, welcome to my radical, finds one, and now has to realize that Rampy probably is going for the plant. Rampy getting off the bomb, and will find him too. Rampy hopping off the plants. And great intuition from him. Probably hears the footsteps on Pemby and goes for the challenge. 3 rounds in a row now for the boys on Vex. I was starting to think that, hey, okay, this is the opportunity. Midnight Gaming. Pemby has to know that a plant is probably occurring, but regardless, though, smart play coming in from this man Rampy yet again when it comes down to the search and destroys. 5-1 for him. Vicious doesn't earn those streaks, but a first blood would maybe make up for it a little bit. As the smoke comes in, and we see yet again another push toward this A site from the boys on MG. As I talk about first bloods, 2 for 3 in favor of Vex for now. We'll see how that changes as Rampy and Co. begin to make that rotation forward. Looks like player number 1 could be getting involved with one of those. It is going to be Hitman. 2 players tagged up. Phantomz trying to hold this backside position. They could be going for a bait and switch. Looks like they do try to go for it, and it does work out in their favor. Yet again, another kill found for Rampy. He's trying to start to stack onto those. An assist will do it, though, as ProFeeZy, last man alive, does find 2 for his troubles and has the opportunity. Someone's going for the defuse. If he can maybe try to go for a dolphin dive, he can find it. Touchdown Rampy, but he doesn't realize that Hitman's found the defuse. Hitman is just behind where you were looking. ProFeeZy had it in his hands, but he didn't know to challenge on the bomb site. He didn't think that it was possible, that someone could be just under his nose. That's exactly what occurs. Vex escaped with the defuse at the last second possible. And what a heartbreaking moment from ProFeeZy and Co. from Midnight. (0-4) to start off this game. Vicious yet again, being a nuisance with that sniper rifle. Finds his second first blood in his team's 4th for this game. 2v4, Phantomz and ProFeeZy up. Smart play coming in from Phantomz. Actually, it's his teammate ProFeeZy that he tries to shoot at for the second kill. But it's looking like a CTF could be on the horizon. 2 more rounds needed for that CTF to be guaranteed. What can Phantomz do? This could be the start. I almost said the start of something new. We're not about we're not gonna say that. I was thinking about it and I was like, okay, where am I gonna go from here? And it was just like High School Musical reference right there, and I just had to take it. So with that though, 5 rounds in a row, right? I mean, literally it should be 4-1 in this case. It could even be 4-2. I mean, you talk about momentum that you maybe gained from a prior search and destroy round, but still though, 5-0 from Vex. Rampy 8-2, 8-3 for VexX. No streaks, but they don't even need them. They literally don't even need them right now. VexX is just tearing it up with the sniper for the time, but it's actually quickly hopping aboard with the offensive team. ProFeeZy is able to escape with the first blood in this situation. Being on offense, it even plays bigger, but VexX lingering inside the middle does find a few. There's Hitmxn dropping one. Nearly actually does find the assist, but takes down one in the end. Phantomz 1v3. Welcome to your clutching situation, as he's not able to do much more than just a few shots in the side, as a hot 6-0 in search and destroy to push us to a map 3. Vex. That's the way to answer the call right there. That's the way to answer what was a dominant loss, or an unfortunate loss in the hard point. They lose 250 to 124. Granted, it's maybe not the same stack up when you talk about search and destroy compared to hardpoint, but still though, VexX finishing off 9-3, Rampy 8-3. I mean, these guys were just tearing it up. And we talk about the possible round that ProFeeZy could have had. That was a 1v4, literally a 1v4, but someone just happens to be on the defuse. Of course, 6 rounds in a row there gained from Vex, whether it was from defuses or from straight-up kills. They were able to win them regardless. So now looking at CTF Arden Forest, I was hoping that we would be seeing a map 3 CTF on Arden Forest, to be exact. That's exactly what I'm getting. But by no means would I think it would be off of a 250 to 124 hardpoint win and a 6-0 search and destroy win. So based off of those 2 map victories, you've got to be imagining that both teams are succeeding when it comes down to their particular roles. Now, one thing that I think is interesting, though, and one thing that I really like about best-of-3 formats, especially when you have 2 talented teams like this, is that when you look at CTF kind of being the decider, right, the final map in a map set as far as things are considered. What I really like about that, because of course everyone loves map 5 search and destroys. Can I speak? That's obviously great. But what I really like, though, is that hardpoint and search and destroy, you can kind of take things from that. You have the respawn ability of a hardpoint that heads into a CTF, but you also have the quick communication, the respawn delay. You have a lot of the kind of core factors from search and destroy as well. So it's kind of a combination of both hardpoint and search and destroy. You know, teams obviously who are, like if I was to say if a team who was good at hardpoint and then there was a team who was good at search and destroy, probably favoring the team at hardpoint more than the team who was good at search and destroy in a CTF game. But there still are similar core components that come down to it. When we talk about the prior history or communication, the chemistry of a team, that plays huge in CTF. Just the ability to watch over cuts, the ability to have correct placements, correct positioning all over the map. I mean, it is like learning a new dance when you're trying to play CTF, especially with boots on the ground. It's like trying to tango and making sure that you're all in the right places, you're on the right steps, because if not, one little slip up is going to ruin absolutely everything for you. And if we know anything about CTF in this game, granted, it's not on Flat Tower, it's not on London Docks. Rallies can happen. Arden Forest, it can also act the same. Streaks are big. When it comes to Arden Forest as well, it can play a little bit slower. Not going to be saying like 8 to 9 flag ending scores. I mean, unless these teams just kind of light things up and there's no defense played. This is going to be playing a little bit slower. This is going to be playing a lot more methodical. And that really kind of comes down to more of that style of chemistry, that style of, make sure everyone knows their roles. And like I said, both these teams, they've been playing with each other for a decent time. Midnight longer than Vex. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, for officially the final time. It is map number 3, CTF on Arden Forest, our grand final between Vex and Midnight. Winner of this map is crowned victors for tonight's $200 minimum, and loser it's granted with a decent second place title. Now, of course, second place for the teams that we had tonight is absolutely respectable. But, of course, each team wanting to claim first and being known as the best. As like I said, Arden Forest CTF does load up. We are ready to go. A combination, to me, of hardpoint and search and destroy. But take a look at this. ProFeeZy has quickly found himself on the flank. Phantomz is trying to at least maybe pick up the piece for what could have been a early flag run. But already, aggression, being shown from the guys on MG off the start, but it is not going to go their way. And now looking on, the blue arrows start to make their way up through the map, trying to gain back some of that map control. As ProFeeZy there to try to spoil the party. Brack, yet again with his highlighter STG-44, making his way on the flank. Finds one to Pemby as he screams of Surprise? I don't know exactly what that was, but that was kind of unfortunate. That was pretty gory, to say the least. But Hitman, check your corners. Usually you have to ADS, but he's good enough to where he doesn't have to do that. So there you go. Looking on, though, both teams, like I said, showing pretty decent aggression off the start, but keeping in mind, the numbers, player counting, it's got to be big. You see Brack. I love this play from Brack, right? Literally he's inside of you, immediately he's like, okay, we're not on this side of the map. I'm going to check it. I'm going to call this one out and see who's over here. Doesn't find the kill into ProFeeZy, oddly enough. But still, though, at least he's always there to check different corners, being aware of what's most important around the map. And it just goes to show what kind of an assault rifle player that he is, right? Always being aware of the lanes, exactly what you want to see in the game mode of CTF. Stun gets tossed out at the perfect time possible here from Brack. Trying to go for the re-challenge. Player goes for the dolphin dive. And Glory, thank you so much for the free kill, as he will find the third as well. Brack single-handedly shutting down that push. A perfectly timed stun with the solid shots coming in from the STG. Looking on, though, making his way through for his side. Spots a quickly proned Glory. You can also find ProFeeZy from the flank, as it looks like the player's starting to stack up. Rampy and Brack find two quickly. Third, though, needs to be found with the machine pistol, but Pemby will say no, no, no to that. Waves the finger and also will be granted the return as just an extra bullet needed to be there. And it wasn't. It escaped the game's memory. Pemby, nice stuff. Solid work. But now he's the last person alive. Although he is still lingering instead of top beat umps, that's going to at least push the back. That what would have been a mid-map presence through that East Road position. So it looks like as players start to kind of reset, try to gain some information back. Pemby still being a problem. This is going to be one thing that I feel like the guys for a minute are going to have a little bit of problems with when it comes down to this map particular, is the head glitches on different lanes. You're going to be having, most likely, at one point, Phantomz at one head glitch, or at least one kind of backside position, and Pemby at another. Both of these guys, very, very solid shots underneath them. And we talk about Vex, right? From time to time can play a little, or excuse me, from VexX, can play a little bit aggressive from time to time, maybe kind of get out of their comfort zone a little bit. And so that could come back to hurt them at times. But look at this. Hitman, 11-5, 5 streak for him. Has got the flag in hand, but trying to dodge it, isn't able to do so. And so the return should be coming in shortly from Glory. Goes for the dolphin dive and manages to make that happen. A defensive push now turning into an offensive one. Can Pemby run his way toward the capture point? And it looks like it is going to be a first flag home for the boys on Midnight Gaming. What seemed to be a pretty awkward position, they turn it into a push of their own. And off of that, Hitman doesn't earn streaks. He was so close after going on that 5 spree. Does not earn any streaks. That's got to be very unfortunate and very frustrating if you are the guys on VexX. Being that close and realizing what streaks like that mean, whether on offense or especially on defense. A get-out-of-jail-free card or just a huge bonus that a glide bomb or a fighter pilot can give you. 25 seconds left in our first half before we rotate sides. Of course, keeping in mind the grace minute of overtime that also does get presented as 4 go down. This is your chance. This is your opportunity, but where are the players from Midnight Gaming spawning at? Glory gets to spawn inside of Forest. He quickly falls, and now Rampy trying to watch from that spawn. They should be good to go. Hitman should be off to the races. 14-6 for him, a 3 spree at that. A flag capture will do nicely. A cherry on top, and just like that, the boys from VexX get their somewhat of a revenge as they even things up, loading in toward our next 5 minutes. Take a look at this play from Brack, right? He ends up finding 2 kills prior. He said a great stun and a machine pistol headshot for the 3rd kill in a row. But like I said, props to Brack on one side, and also props to Hitman, right? Hitman at the half, he's 14-6. 14-6. He was literally, I mean, if one kind of clutch push or one clutch defend doesn't come in from Midnight, this is 2 flag caps. This is a 2-0 game for the boys on VexX. Midnight playing very solid, though, in their own regard. But like I said, Hitman is the all-star for this match at the time. Vicious finding 2 off the break. And right now, if you're Midnight, feeling the pressure a little bit. Definitely feeling the pressure. When we talk about sides, preferable ones, it's definitely going to be the preferred side in favor of Brack & Co. from VexX. Reason being, when you spawn toward back bunker, I mean, it is a very it's a very tight area, essentially. You don't have a whole lot of surface area to really move around. I mean, if you're spawning in back bunker, you're spawning in back bunker, or you're spawning back bell, essentially is what it is. So if you have teammates watching the cut, if you're able to kind of get the numbers back there limited, you're going to know exactly where they're spawning every time. So the spawn control, the overall small level of where the spawns come in from is huge. And for the defensive team on this side, which it looks like ProFeeZy and co not having too much of a difficulty, if you look at that overall surface area, the guys from Vex have, I mean, they have such a wide area on that bridge position to really watch over their spawn. So it's definitely just kind of a tale to see which side is more preferred. Definitely has to be favored currently toward the guys on Vex. But I say that, flag capture comes in from Midnight. Solid work off the start, and this is exactly what they wanted. A lead like this for the time being is great for them because now they realize, okay, hey, we have the lead. We can kind of relax a little bit. We're not going to park the bus by any means, but hey, we have that control. Now we kind of have a little bit of wiggle room that we can work with. ProFeeZy doing exactly what he needs to. The perfect position for him is inside these narrow corridors. This narrow positions, the fast reaction time can play big. And look at this, Phantomz having to go big. He ends up following, though. 3 drop fast. And now just like that, Brack is off to the races, has got the flag on his back, and potentially an even score title in his future. Making his way forward, though. Player number 7 to player number 8, Phantomz. Not going to be in a position. Neither is Pemby. He falls, and just like that, Brack evens things up along with earning some streaks on top of it. And he's actually going to run the glide bomb off the start. This is trying to ruin these spawns. That's what I talked about. And it looks like he doesn't find any kills with that because of the early spawn protection that you get. But regardless, though, he knew exactly where they're spawning. That's no surprise. And it looks like here comes the fighter pilot, finding 2, tagging up at least. I think he actually tags up 2 more at the end of that. Maybe some assists in his future, as it looks like that is going to be the case. Vicious now has the flag in his possession. Codcaster glitch is going to make me a little bit frustrated, but it's fine. Vicious away with the flag. Those streaks playing huge for the time. Brack does drop off of his streak. It ends at 6, but take a look, though. Glory gets involved with the flag, ends up dropping, but look at this. It's going to be at least 1 found. Pemby on the opposite end needs to go for this return. Player just toward his side, but enemies watching over him. It looks like Brack spawns up just right there, and that flag will be returned. And scored just like that from Vex. Pemby did all he could. All he could. Unfortunately, he grabs the flag, so his presence is even more known. But Pemby, an awkward spot. It just goes to show that spawns and Unforced can be a little bit hard to work with. Spawn just toward his back right and really couldn't do much more than that. 4 fall for Midnight Gaming. Vex feeling solid. They're feeling confident. They've got a flag lead and just a minute and 30 on the clock. 2 enemies currently face Midnight Gaming, not just the side of Vex, but also the time. What can they do? Questions that viewers are asking, myself is asking, and I'm sure they're probably asking themselves. Rampy making his way through that forest side, doing some pretty solid work for the boys on Vex. And I like that play. I like the aggression that they're showing. They're not just like, hey, we have the lead, let's kind of hang out with it. No, we're going to be trying to constantly give problems toward the opposite end, not just on defense, but also on the offensive end too. As it looks like Pemby tries to touch the flag, but his little hands can't get on it for too much longer. Glory falls, and just like that, here comes another flag from Brack. They give him the return along with the capture. Looking great for a potential streak in the horizon, but does he even need to use them? Glory and Pemby starting to feel the pressure. Do they realize it's over? And it looks like they do. Glory's going to leave the game. Midnight Gaming, they're done. It's over for them. They can't get it done in time. The clutch flag grabs at the end of this match will come forward from the guys on Vex. We would talk about a respawn victory, right? A respawn victory in map 1 where Midnight was looking in prime control of this game. I really thought another 2-0. All right, there it goes from Midnight Gaming. They literally close out map number 1, Hardpoint, St. Marie de Mans, 250 to 124. And then we load into a search and destroy, and it's a totally different story. A hot 6-0 from Vex. I mean, the overall momentum that you'd probably get from something like that definitely has got to carry over into the CTF. But, of course, our box score for the CTF there, Midnight Gaming and Vex were even at the half. And then obviously we do see Vex score 3-1 in round number 2 off the back of a very, very solid showing coming in from Hitmxn. I actually want to take a look at our scoreboard potentially if it actually does show up there. Yeah, Hitmxn finishes off 22-13, Vicious 21-13, Brack 19-12. Now, what I want to discuss right about Vex really quick. Of course, I want to say also, congratulations to the guys on Vex for winning tonight's tournament. Didn't actually say that. Congratulations to the boys on Vex for locking down tonight's win, winning a majority of that $200 prize, and being, of course, $200 minimum 44 champions, of course, for March 15th. Obviously, earned title. Congratulations to those guys. But one thing I want to talk about is in that scoreboard, right? You see 2 or 3 players, rather, all around that, not double positive margin, but 22-13, 21-13, 19-12. With the old lineup of Vex, you probably didn't have that. When you add a guy like Hitmxn, right, he wasn't just doing work in the slaying category. He was putting up consistent slaying numbers, but he was also getting the objective work done as well. Like, this is a guy who, to me, in Hitmxn, obviously known for his search and destroy play, toward the beginning of Infinite Warfare and even, in Black Ops 3 and whatnot. This is a really solid guy when it comes down to the respawns. And without question, this guy's got to be on everyone's radar. If he hasn't already, at least take a look at him, right? I mean, he's been playing very, very, very well. Like I said, recently became a free agent from the Reign roster, and I think he wants to have kind of more consistency when it comes down to his lineups. He was the only real consistent player on Reign. When you watched the old team, Jet Li would kind of do well in the search and destroys. From time to time, you'd see Lisp Zeus just kind of light it up, and then times he'd be silent. Neon didn't really have the best of performances when I was able to watch, their matches kind of come forward. He was really the only consistent guy. Now, at least online, right, he has Vicious, who is a very solid player in multiple game modes. You've got Brack, who is super solid when it comes down to not just hardpoint, but also CTF as well. Like I said, he finishes off 19-12. He ends up having 3 captures, 2 returns. I mean, he was doing a lot. And I also was talking about the kind of veteran mindset that I feel like Brack has, right? Kind of walking throughout the map. He was constantly checking lanes, kind of acting as if he's been playing this game competitively at the highest level for years. I mean, he was just acting as if he knows exactly what the roles are. And there's been a number of different highlights actually from the month prior that I was actually looking at for our top 5 video. I mean, he had some insane moments on the CTF on this exact map of Arden Forest where he was just going off and taking control over maps literally by himself. So I think that Hitmxn has finally kind of found a team where he can kind of surround himself with really solid players. I know I talked about Brack and Vicious. Rampy in the Search and Destroys is just unbeatable. He was having an incredible time in the Search and Destroys tonight as well. So, like I said, congratulations to the guys on Vex. I know Midnight, to me, had a very solid tournament run. I think out of the 4 matches that we had, we casted over there. 3 out of the 4 were involving Midnight. They played very strong, too. Got to give massive credit to them. But really, when it came down to the CTF, was anyone's game at certain moments. But I think the 6-0 in Search and Destroy really surprised me quite a bit. On London Docks, I've seen Midnight have quite a few successes when it comes down to that. I really wasn't seeing the early first bloods kind of go their way. I mean, the only round that was really looking good for them that could have maybe turned the tide was off of a 1v4, which isn't going to happen very often, and obviously it didn't there. So.